We are now going to learn how to draw a perpendicular line. But before we begin with that, we need to understand what exactly a perpendicular line is. Perpendicular lines are lines that cross or meet at right angles. Okay, so for a line to be considered a perpendicular line, it has to cross each other or they have to meet at right angles. Right, so for a line to be a perpendicular line, it has to cross, they have to cross each other or they have to meet at right angles, which means they have to meet at 90 degrees. That is what we call a perpendicular line. So there are two ways that we can draw perpendicular lines. And the first way is by using a protractor. Right, we've used a protractor before. So the first way that we can learn how to draw a perpendicular line is by using a protractor. Okay. To draw a perpendicular line using a protractor, the first thing that you need to do is you need to take a ruler and you need to draw a line segment. Okay, let's say it's going to be A and B. So we draw our line segment and it's going to be AB. Then in the middle of the line segment, I put a dot and I'm going to label it C, for example. So I have A, B, and C is in the middle. Then I take my protractor, I put the line in the middle on the vertex, which is going to be C. So I put my middle line on C. Make sure that the black line at the bottom is covering the baseline. And I measure up, counting from 0, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Remember, perpendicular lines have right angles, so they are 90 degrees. I put a dot at 90. Then I take my ruler and I measure from C to the dot, like that. And I'm going to label that D. So now I have A, B, and I have C and D, and they meet at a right angle. So these are perpendicular lines. And to show that they're perpendicular, I have to say line AB is perpendicular, that's the sign for perpendicular, to CD. What that means is AB and CD meet at a right angle and they are therefore perpendicular to each other. So that is how I draw a right angle or draw perpendicular lines using a protractor, which we already know. The second way that we can draw perpendicular lines is by using what we call a set square, which looks like this. You found it in your geometry set. A set square looks like this. This is what we call a set square. So I'm going to show you how you draw a perpendicular line using a set square. The first thing that you need to do would be to draw a line segment again. So I'm going to draw my line segment across, and again I'm going to call it AB. Now, the interesting thing about the set square is that it already has a right angle built into it. Here and here, they meet over here, which is a right angle. It is 90 degrees. So all you then do, if you're using a set square to draw a perpendicular lines, is you put your set square on the line segment that you have drawn, like this, and you just trace a line along the side of the set square, like that. I'm going to call it CD. It meets at a 90 degree angle. I know that because the set square is always 90 degrees. So now I know line segment AB is perpendicular to line segment CD. Just like that. You have to write the answer like this using the perpendicular sign in the middle. Line AB is perpendicular to line CD. If you understand this, I'd like you to please pause the video now and try this example on your whiteboard. It says, draw perpendicular lines for the following: PQ that's perpendicular to RO. These are just obviously the names of the line. Here you're using a protractor, and for number 3 and 4 you need to use a set square to draw perpendicular lines. If you don't understand the video, please watch it again before trying the activity.